Hi, Skye.
How's it going, Skye?
Hello, hello, hello.
We're we'll get going. I don't know where G's gonna be hopping on shortly, but I hear you have some loud dogs.
Oh my. So it's either hit or miss. They'll like when I'm doing client calls, they'll either be super good when and behave or they'll be loud. So we'll see how that goes.
What type of
Usually
dogs?
they're both Australian Shepherds.
Oh,
Um,
beautiful.
yeah, they're cuties. So they're kind of just sitting chilling right now. So we're gonna hope that it stays like that.
We'll keep the calm energy then. We won't get hyped up.
Aussies, they need their attention.
Oh, so much. So much.
Yeah.
So,
Uh,
Skye, can you talk a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself to our fans and whoever's watching?
Yes, hello everybody. I am Skye Osborne. I am 27 now. I am an IFBB Bikini Pro. I just went pro last year. Doing my pro debut this year. Very exciting. I'm in prep right now. I'm a personal trainer online and in person. And I pretty much just live and breathe fitness with everything.
And you went pro in the universe?
Yeah, NPC Universe out in Newark, New Jersey.
yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
that's
Been
dope.
there.
That's a dope show.
Yeah, there were so many people too. So it made me feel better with the pro win was being able to compete against a bunch of people who were competitive. So that was cool.
We were actually there last year. G was our coach, Giancarlo. He was
Oh,
actually competing in it. It was a wonderful ranch show, but backstage it was hectic. How was it for you
oh
guys?
my, because there were so many masters classes, I think crossovers that it was just so crowded. And we were last because I was on one class for bikini. So I was chilling for way longer than I thought I would. So it was definitely crowded back there.
They need to put Masters on its own day. They need to do like
Yeah,
a Masters day and then open day or whatever. But
they did that with figure, I think, right? They did figure and a different division, a different day. But they should have put Masters, I think, on its own too, just so it separated it a
well,
little bit
because
more.
there's so many Masters divisions that there ends and there's crossover, so there ends up being more people in Masters total than like the regular divisions. So you're
Yeah.
sitting there and it's like you want to see both, but it's like a different mindset, right? Like you're seeing a 70-year-old go on, they're looking crazy for their age, but then there's people like yourself trying to win their pro card, and it's just like a different vibe.
And the pumping up and stuff too. Like you don't
Managing
really
food, yeah.
end through that it was finals. They ran through. They weren't playing. So you gotta like figure it out. And yeah. It was hectic, but hey,
You
it
got
was
you got your pro card at the end of the
yeah.
day. I
Yeah.
think this year's a little different because I'll be competing in the universe this year,
Okay.
and physique and bikini, and I believe another category is competing on Thursday, which last
Oh.
year it was like on when was it, G? Friday or Saturday that you competed?
Um, I don't remember.
You don't
I think
remember?
I thought it was around Thursday or Friday, but
Yeah,
could
yeah,
be wrong.
like I think they're pushing the shows earlier this year. So we'll see how it's ran. I'm interested
But
to see
what division, Chris, are you doing?
physique,
Okay.
men's physique. Yeah.
Okay. It's nice.
We all did the same class in 2023 because we're all the same height. So we actually all competed against each other. That's where we met.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Small world, huh?
2 years later, now we're all on the same team.
That's
Or
cool.
competing against each other, and then that's how friendships are built, right?
So
Oh
Chris has,
yeah.
Chris has
Bodybuilding too, especially you
yeah.
find so many people that are positive and supportive in the community and build that off of it.
So
So
Chris has Chiseled Classic coming up in 3 weeks, Chris. And
Yeah,
then
3 weeks.
Universe, your first national show. Then G and I have 2 shows in the fall, and then we're gonna be doing Amateur Olympia together. So
okay. The
uh,
amateur is cool. That's a cool show with the stage. And so I do pro tan on the side, like spray tanning and stuff with the
Oh,
show.
wow.
So I see the backstage. That's probably one of my favorite stages. So you guys will like that one.
So
it's
do you do a
cool.
lot of traveling with Protan?
Yeah, so I actually am going to Legion this weekend in Reno, to spray tan out there.
Wow.
You're
Uh,
local though,
That's
right?
a
You're
big
in
show.
you're in Vegas.
Yeah, but we're moving to Austin in 2 weeks. So
Oh
it's I've
wow.
been like we're rolling a
So
lot.
I'm curious about that because Vegas has become one of the like
Meccas.
we're in South Florida, so bodybuilding is huge down here, but Vegas has been blowing up. Obviously, Brandon Hendrickson just moved out there. You have Jay Cutler that's always been a Vegas native. And I know you go to Fit Club, right? That's where you train.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what prompted the move? I mean, first of all, congrats on the engagement. Very
Thank
exciting.
thank you.
But yeah, is that like a family, like kind of a life personal decision, or was there like bodybuilding work aspect to it?
Yeah, so my sister lives down there already. So when me and my fiance went down there to visit, it was beautiful. I love the outdoor gym vibe, and you don't really see that in Vegas specifically. And we're wanting to have kids next year at some point. So family, just growing up, Vegas wasn't the spot for it. So we decided Austin was just it was just a perfect area, and bodybuilding's big down there too, with and fitness in general being active's big down there. So it kind of like gravitated us toward there more, I
I
would
know
say.
Houston has gotten pretty big in the body.
Yeah, Houston, even Dallas is pretty big, I would say. In the Austin, it's a lot of younger people around my age in their 20s, just kind of living life, just really outdoorsy stuff, which I love. So
Well, that's
What
exciting.
what pushed you to bodybuilding, Sky?
So I was a collegiate athlete. I played softball in college. I graduated during COVID. So when COVID hit, I was kind of like, what do I do with my life? Like sports is the only thing I ever knew because it was, that's my identity and that's all I thought I was. And then I found a guy out. I lived in New Mexico for like 2 years. I found a guy out there who was like, hey, you should try bodybuilding. Um, Coaching didn't go as well as I planned, but it got me into the sport of trying it out and seeing how I can do. And then I just fell in love with it because it made me feel competitive, athletic again, wanting to be better. And with bodybuilding, you can never be the best, you know? So this is a sport that's always growing and you have to grow physically and mentally. I feel like every time you step on stage. So I got a better coach. I've been with him 4 years now, and he went with me for my pro card win and I just fell in love with it ever since.
Who's our coach now?
Justin Mazer, so he's out in Illinois. So I'm from Illinois originally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've been all around the world for the last couple of years.
And then how long till you started bringing on your own clients?
I didn't start training people till about 3 years ago, I would say. I was working like 2 or 3 jobs on top of coaching. I think everyone understands when you start your own business, you kind of got to figure it out and hustle a lot. But I just went full time about 2 years ago with personal training online and in person.
How's it been going? Enjoy it or
Really good. Yeah, I love it. This is what I've always wanted to do, and I always tell people bodybuilding specifically like pushed me to want to go after my dreams more outside of just an aesthetic of what you look like on stage. Like it really pushes you in all aspects of life. And that's why I vouch for bodybuilding so much because you hear pros and cons, right, of what people bring and what to expect and the negative sides of it. But I just always say it brings out so much more in you that you never thought was possible until you actually do a show and a prep, you
I
know?
have a lot of respect for people that even if they just do one prep and one show,
Mhm.
like you said, I think it teaches you a lot about yourself. And but that being said, there are a lot of people that I think they want to say they're in prep for social media clout and growth, and then it's
Yeah.
like they constantly drop out right before. So that makes me appreciate the ones that do see it through even more, even if they show up on stage and they're not, their best yet.
Mhm.
There's always improvement. So it's one of those sports that's there's really no end game, right? Like because even if you win
Yeah.
the Olympia, they still want to get better.
Yeah. And that's why I think like Alpha Land does the whole summer shredding thing. And I
mm,
have a client who's actually doing I believe it's called the fitness category there. And they go from like 50 to 150 pounds or 150 to 200 pound class that you've lost weight loss wise instead of like an open class, kind of like what we do. And I love that because it's a transformation. So she's lost 100 pounds. So she's going to be in that 100 pound category of weight loss. But it gives them an opportunity to step on stage without feeling overwhelmed or feeling like they can't compete, sit quote unquote, like they can actually do it just like we do, just in a different way, which I like that opportunity of it. So I think it's great. However, you step on stage, no matter what you look like, guess what? Half the people in America won't do it. So at
Yeah,
least,
you're vulnerable. You're vulnerable when you're on stage being judged by a group of people. Not only that, you got the fans. Summer Shredding's a bigger show, you know.
Yeah,
So I imagine,
You
and
still you have a client doing that, right? Or is he not doing that show?
No.
No, he's not doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, not that I know of, no.
Yeah, they do. It's got. I know they do the transformation class, right? The one that's
yes,
like
that's what.
that's the one.
Yeah, I think they name it fitness something for the people to sign up for, but it's the transformation category that she's doing. But they
Gotcha.
also do open classes, I believe. But it's weird because it's not NPC, so it's its own like organization that he does. I just don't know
Yeah.
what it's called, but
Well,
it's different.
I don't
It's
think he
different.
even has like an organization for it. I think he just
Oh,
runs
it's just a
through
show.
his
yeah,
conglomerate.
just athlete.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Oh,
cool because it's obviously well run. Um, it's just, I think it's well produced. It's just, again, without being attached to the NPC, you're limited. Like even if you win it, it's not gonna do anything for you. So,
yeah.
it's
I
perfect for
know
the
that
athletes winning it.
sponsorship, I think, is like the biggest thing I feel
Yeah.
like with them that you win.
Although I know they had to slash like 80 or 90% of their athletes and rebrand lately.
Yeah.
They've been going through some struggles. So I don't know how that's going to impact the shows.
Yeah.
But so you your Instagram is awesome because I feel like there's so many people out there that hide who they really are with their reels or their social, or they try to conform to what they see around them. And that's just clearly not you. Like you're just you, but and I know that you've dealt with online bullying when you started, right? And I think to a certain extent we can all relate to that when we first started posting about our fitness goals. I mean, I used to play lacrosse,
Okay.
I mean, professionally, and switching to bodybuilding was a very big change up in my content. So
Mhm.
I'm curious to hear more about your journey and the challenges that you faced just embracing yourself and being open online because now obviously you've gotten to a point where I'm sure some of the people that were saying stuff about you are probably trying to come back and connect with you again because you have that pro card and now you're established and it's kind of like a little too late.
Yeah, and I think so when I first started, I had a lot of insecurity things of my own from like past relationships, I would say. So like getting into bodybuilding was a very vulnerable thing for me. You're pretty much showing your whole butt on stage and everything else, right? You're pretty much naked on stage. So posting and things like that, I didn't feel confident because I had girls making fun of me for posting, even though I didn't look the best at the time, and they would copy the way I was posting. And like I never understood it because I was always such a person of like try to help each other, support one another, especially women in the sport. It can get wishy-washy, I feel like, with the support, competitive wise with women. So that was already a bad taste in my mouth when I first started. But I just kept telling myself, like, who cares what people think? Just post what you want to post, be yourself. Because you see a lot of influencers, like you say, that are just very opposite of who they are online. And when you meet them or when you see them, it's like a whole 180 of what they are or how they do things or if they're even disciplined or whatever. So I was like, I'm going to start not caring what people think, build that confidence up, pretend like I don't care. And it eventually will show and get to the point where I really don't care about what people have to say about me. Um, and once I just started posting and just doing my own thing, I'm like, I'm gonna be myself. And that's one thing with my clients I've always said is I will forever be me. You won't see me different than who you find on social media or who you talk to. Like I will be authentic and genuine because coaches nowadays too are very again, wishy-washy. Some of them just want the check, and I don't want the check like that. I care about you guys more than money, right? We have to live, yes, but it's all about making sure your clients are taken care of and like their hormones are regulated, making sure that they actually enjoy prep. Mentally, we're in a good space with prep. Like some coaches are just like, here, do this. I don't really care. Yes, you're going to suffer, but you also have to work with your clients because not everybody can handle an extreme. We have to work with them to make sure they get through it. So, just the whole point of me starting was just be me, and I stuck with that the whole time, and I'm still doing that. And my coach he's hard on me, which I appreciate and very blunt, and he helped me remind myself that who cares what people have to say or talk about you. If you're happy with your life and you're doing what you want to do and you're enjoying it, why care what anyone else has to say? And I finally believed in that like 3 years ago, I would say. And I've just been, I don't give a crap about anybody's opinion since.
There you go. A
Yeah.
lot of people want to project their insecurities too onto you, and that sticks to us, and that makes us doubt ourselves, and I
Yeah.
think it limits a lot of people. But what you do with your clients, building that rapport, building that confidence, putting them on stage for the summer shredding, you don't know what seed you're planting, for future, clients. Like, man, I don't
Yeah.
have to look like that to step on stage. Maybe I could start off here, and if I like it, let me continue dropping another 50, another 30 pounds or XYZ. So I could commend you for that. So keep
And
on doing that. That's dope.
And it's definitely hard, I feel like, with some people too, right? Because they see all of these influencers so aesthetically pleasing year round. And they're like, well, I can never get to that, so I can't step on stage. And something I try to always remind people is they've been doing this either years of
Yeah.
experience or one, genetically, they just have a great genetic body as well that they can stay lean year round. I am not one that stays lean year round for my mental health and as well as my physical health. It's just not a thing I do. So showing every part of that is so important in this process and as a
Yes.
coach because you can't be 10%, 8% body fat year round because we all know we feel like crap when we're eating no food and we're on low carbs.
Well,
So it's
even more so for women too, right? Because it messes with your hormones and, I'm sorry to bring this up, but periods and stuff, they
oh,
stop
100%.
and that's scary. That's scary, I imagine, for a female.
Yeah, and pregnancy too, like if you're wanting to have children, like all that stuff needs to be evaluated and make sure that we're positive and proper in that way after shows and during it. So, yeah, all of that kind of stuff. You just gotta, I feel like being authentic and being realistic about the sport helps people want to do it more and is like, oh, okay, they feel the same emotions I do. They're not robots, you know?
Yeah.
You have to run your own race at the end of the day. And there's also people that maybe it's their first show, but perhaps they've been training for that show for 5 years and they just chose not to get on stage until then. And then it messes with your head. Oh, that person only did one show and I've done five and they're ahead of me. And it's like, well, you have no idea what advantages they've had before you, or there's just too many variables. It is hard to do that. Like, it's something natural for people to compare. I mean, we're in a comparison sport at the end of the day. So that just goes to having the right circle behind you to keep you grounded, give you those reality checks.
Yeah, and remind yourself too, like a lot of pros, that's something I will always say to myself is you should be humble always within the sport. Doesn't matter if you're a pro or not, because there's always someone better than you. So just work your butt off, keep your head down, and just focus on you. Stop comparing yourself, stop looking at other people. You're not there to impress other people, you're there to impress yourself and just be better than you were last show, you know?
Yeah, I love that. I love that mindset. Balancing everything you balance between coaching, pro tan, and being a full-time coach. Have you faced like any burnouts? And if so, how do you manage through that? And that's a lot of energy because I know dealing with people, it in itself is a lot of energy, and you got to receive that. And how do you balance all of that?
Yeah, so actually, after I got my pro card last year, I really felt burnout after. Just very like I needed time to reset, like still stay on track, but enjoy life a little more because I want longevity in the sport. So it really did hit me after my pro card, and that's because the last 3.5 years, I've been constantly on every single thing, even in my off season. Like no let up, meals were on point. Like I was not giving in, whatever. And it really hit me after, and I had to take a step back for a second and be like, live your life as well as enjoy this sport because this isn't all that matters. There's so much more to life. Yes, bodybuilding is important to me, but family, friends, social life, like I need that to be able to enjoy lifting and what I'm doing, especially as a trainer. I mean, you're always in fitness. Like that's all you live and breathe. So sometimes you need to step back and find a different hobby or find different ways to reset. So I kind of just I went on a lot of vacations last year, still, worked out, but if I wanted to eat something, I ate something. I didn't overthink it. It's okay. Like I needed that break. And my fiance really helped me with that because he's not a bodybuilder at all. Complete opposite of me. But helped me realize that there's more to life than just this. And I needed that for myself to be able to get back that fire to be like, okay, we can do this again. It's possible.
How did
You know?
your how did you communicate with your coach during that period, like in terms of being a little bit more intuitive about your meals?
Yeah, so I was very upfront with him, and I think we've built that relationship and rapport with each other of, hey, I'm feeling pretty burnt out, dude. I have one or two free meals a week instead of just one? And we kind of did it that way. So I was still on my meals, but I had one or two more free meals than normal. So we adjusted it to where he's very I get it, you're burnt out, but you still need to be pretty locked in, but enjoy more, which I 100% agree with. So we did it that way, where it was one or two free meals, or if I went on vacation for 3 days, eat what you want, just be, yeah, hit your protein goal and just eat healthier options when you're traveling. So that's kind of how we did it. Everyone's different. I feel like in the way that they can handle things, especially mentally, like old Skye would have went off the rails and ate 12 dozen Krispy Kreme donuts her first show and shoved it down. But now just with the amount of times we've competed and prepped, like he trusts that I will be okay going off plan for a weekend and not eat like a total fatty, you know?
Can you dive into that? Because it's funny you say that as a joke, but a lot of bodybuilders face that post-show, let me eat everything inside because this is not going to be here tomorrow mindset.
Yes, literally, I would say 95% of people, their first show end up binging like crazy after a show. And I think it's because something I've realized with my clients, and I give them tips, is don't watch food videos throughout prep all the time. That's going to make
Me and
you,
Chris, stop sending me those food reels.
it's gonna, well, you can do it once in a while, right? But like, don't keep your mind constantly on that because that's all
It's the
you're,
algorithm. It's the algorithm's
Oh,
fault. It
oh.
right?
knows you're on
It
prep.
keeps it. It keeps go literally all the pancakes and the donuts and all the amazing
Burgers,
stuff.
everything. Oof.
But the more you look at that, the more you're gonna like have a facade of, okay, I need to eat this. I need to eat
Crave, yeah.
food, right? Yeah, cravings. Thank you. So I always say try to limit yourself on that. Food is not going anywhere, just like the stage doesn't go anywhere. You can have food after, but think of all the hard work that you've put into yourself that your 2 or 3 days eating like crap are gonna mess up. There's no point in it, right? But in reality, we all do it. I did it the first two shows. I didn't listen to my coach. I said, I'm eating whatever I want. Screw you. I
YOLO.
worked hard. Yeah. And I regret that. But we all do it. And I think you have to kind of go through it to learn your lesson of like, no, you worked hard for this body. Like you have a little bit of food, but you don't need a whole bunch of it, you know? So that's a tricky subject because a lot of people don't talk about the binge eating after, or some people do develop eating disorders from bodybuilding, but that comes from not having a good coach or learning, how to maybe intuitively eat in an off season or, random little things that you need to incorporate to not have those negatives with it. But a lot of people don't talk about the binge eating. I'm like, shoot, I did it multiple times and it's
Well,
okay.
you brought it up too because a bad coach is gonna have you on fish and asparagus for 6 months straight on 5 hours of cardio. So how
Yeah.
how do you adjust? How do you adjust from that when your body's already burnt out? And I think that's where a lot of the eating disorders happen, because you're like, damn, I'm gonna feel bad if I eat this piece of chicken, when in reality, chicken and fish,
You have to know yourself though, because there's different types of people, right? Like some people can go out at night, enjoy themselves, and be absolutely fine not having that craving for a while or being able to say no. There's some people that go down that slippery slope. And it goes back to like genetically, some people are more they have a tendency to get addicted, right? And it's addicted to whatever it is. Maybe it's vaping or drugs or coffee, whatever it is, they're just genetically more inclined to not have that ability to say no or know when to stop. So, I think it's important for athletes to look inward at themselves and come to that realization of being honest about what kind of person they are. Because let's say you are someone that has less control over that binging. It's fine. You can still go and have those things, but I think you should create certain rules. Like maybe it's only on, a Sunday every other week will I allow myself to do that. And I think just by setting those guidelines or barriers themselves, it will make them feel comfortable doing it because they know they have that rule in place and that's what they're going to follow, and then they can kind of relax a bit. It's
I
the people
agree
that
with
don't
that.
think about it too much, and yeah.
and
Yeah. And I
don't,
feel
yeah,
like
punish yourself. A lot of people like punish themselves
Yeah.
after they eat. And
yeah, because bodybuilding's left on structure. Like everybody is who is in bodybuilding, why do you love it? Most of the time, their answer is we love structure.
structure. Yeah.
So if you keep that structure in, you throw in something once in a while, that's okay. But I have a client too who's like, hey, I know myself. I don't want to have a free meal until a couple weeks after a show. And I appreciate that and respect that. You know that you'll go off the deep end. Let's slowly get your food increased, get those cravings out of the way, however we need to, like adding in fruit or something to help with it for now, and then have a free meal when you're ready. So mindsets like that too, like just knowing who you are and knowing how much you can truly handle, because we all know how we can be. individually is key to trying not to go off the deep end after a show for sure.
So G lets us substitute food sometimes. So my coach before G had me like 6,000 calories a day. It was insane. And I got so sick of certain foods that because I was already in my off season doing this. So he said it's fine. You're sick of this food. You can change it with this food. And just changing out like whether it be rice with pasta or something just to change the food group helped a lot. So there are two types of, I guess, cheating. There's the one cheating that's like a donut or a cake that would never be on your plan anyway. And then there's
Mhm.
also the cheating where it's not to plan, but it's also not something that's necessarily going to harm your fitness goals either. So for me, myself, like I actually don't have a sweet tooth, luckily. So like cookies and stuff doesn't really entice me. So my version of cheating would probably be more like a chicken Subway sandwich, which, the bread would be the rice and the chicken would be the chicken. And yeah, okay, it's not quite unplanned, but it's also not the end of the world. So personally for me, I that works for me. But some
Yeah.
people they need that sweet. I know Chris and G, they have a bit more of a sweet tooth than I do, but
I like food.
Oh, me too. I'm a
oh
big
wait, man,
I'm a big back too. It's fine. I feel like we're all big backs in our own way,
Yeah,
especially when you're not eating a lot in general.
yeah. But you could be a controlled big back.
That is very true.
But so talk to us about your show day. Like what kind of athlete are you? Are the one that wants to sit to themselves, not talk to anyone, or are you a bit more like, hey, I'm gonna enjoy the moment and not stress too much?
I'm honestly a very chill in prep and in on show day person. And it was crazy because last year during my pro card win, that whole prep was so smooth and just I couldn't explain it. Like I had no stress. I felt great. I went in very peaceful. And that's when I was like, it is what it is. I'm gonna bring my best. And I felt I had a feeling I was gonna win because I did junior nats 2 weeks before that and I got second, and they only get first place. And the girl beat me by 1 point from the judges. So that was a hard sting right there. But then I was like, okay, we'll go to the next national show 2 weeks later. They literally told me not to change anything. So I went in the same, and I won. So it was just I'm a very like go with the flow gal. But this year I have 9 girls competing with me. So I think it's going to be a little different. It'll be a pro-am show we're doing. So it'll be a little different with I think how I'm gonna be
What
this
show
year.
what show are you guys doing?
We're gonna do Wings of Strength, out in Phoenix.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be September 13th.
Oh,
Is
that's the
show.
day I'm competing.
So
Oh, you're
you're
doing I'm doing Battle of the Bodies, Janet Leigh's show in Florida,
Oh, okay.
but same day, yeah.
so
Oh,
Sky, you
cool.
said you're competing and you have athletes competing with you?
Yeah, so that's always been my big dream as a coach is to have clients compete next to me. And yes, I'm in a different category right now, but just being with them on show day was something I've always dreamt of doing as a trainer and a coach and my for my business. So I have 9 girls with me on. I don't know if they do pro and amateur on the same day for that. They haven't released the schedule yet, but they'll be competing with me. And then I have
That's
like a
dope.
couple others in different areas. Yeah.
You gotta come off the bus with them, like rent a bus and just come off,
Right?
like
I'm trying to
just
get a videographer, make it look cool, like a game day. Walk
Cinematic.
around.
yeah. No, that you definitely gotta film that. I mean, if you're
Oh,
down here,
Oh,
I would
come on.
recommend my
Sky's gonna be
boy,
all
but
over the sky's gonna be all over the
yeah,
continent. No, we're
I'm gonna need a videographer, man. I'm like, I gotta find someone. If any of you know anyone in Texas or anywhere, please send them my way.
got you, got you.
yeah, we're bringing someone out for Universe. Because also our podcast manager Jessica is also competing at Universe.
Oh, cool.
So
What division is she?
bikini,
Bikini.
Okay,
doing masters, yeah.
okay,
So
cool.
it's gonna be interesting. And then G and I are doing amateur Olympia together, and we'll have to compete against each other. So we are gonna be in the same class. So that'll be fun.
Oh,
Um,
that's a little fun competitiveness right there, huh? Knowing each other.
yeah, he's gonna add like way too much salt the week before for me, and just get me like really loaded.
Loaded, way too full, way
No,
too
it's
high.
like yeah,
No,
no,
watch it work to your advantage, don't you? Just come in like a freaking house, bro. You're just gonna be like,
yeah. No, yeah, no, but we all been through a lot of personal stuff over the past year, and so for all of us, it's kind of like a comeback season. Just refusing to stay down and using the off season properly.
Yeah.
So again, I would say for me, especially like completely different circle of people this time around for me, and I can already feel my body responding better.
Yeah.
I don't think people take into account how big like stress or negative energy can play. Not they think about your mental health, obviously, but they don't think about what it does to your body. Like
The physical
softball,
appearance.
lacrosse, you don't need to look good, you need to play good. Like, but in
Yeah.
bodybuilding, you need to look good. So, like that little bit of water retention that was just from people getting in your head or whatever it is, it's really important to differentiate that and separate from it.
Yeah, and managing those stress levels too, because you can gain so much weight, like you said, without even knowing and not understanding why. But in reality, it's because of the circle you're around, or maybe financially you're not where you need to be, so you're gonna stress. Like there's so many outside factors that come into play.
Environmental. Yeah, environmental stressors.
Yes, yes. And it's so important to really have those under control in prep because, I mean, no one's perfect, right? We're all going to stress about something in prep, but it's more so of how can I control this or how can I make this easier on me so I'm not dealing with too much, especially during peak week when your body needs to be on point at all times, you know?
How do you stay grounded during those times?
I think just honestly, because all bodybuilders got body dysmorphia, I feel like it's more so just feeling like I need to always be better. So that's why I feel like I'm never here because I feel like sports too, for all of you guys that have done sports, it's always, okay, coach said I need to do this to be better, or what can I do to tweak this or whatever. So, like, I'm constantly always thinking of ways of how I need to be better as a person for my clients, for my family, for, the people around me. So, the humble part for me is really easy, especially when I spray tan these big old bodybuilders who are pros and huge. You're like, yeah, I'm nowhere near that. So, especially these bikini girls, they're massive. Like the
I was gonna ask
Olympians,
you about that.
massive.
What's your view on the way the division is and the creation of fit model?
Yeah.
What's your view on that? Like,
I feel like, good.
I was gonna say, how do you feel about it as a whole?
I feel like fit model is what bikini used to be way back in the day.
Yeah.
And bikini has become so hard in the sense of the way aesthetic looks, hard and conditioned, that they've made it kind of impossible to maintain, if that makes sense, looking at how big these girls are getting. Especially even like women's physique figure, like figure girls are looking like they're almost bodybuilders. Like it's just crazy the evolution of the physiques that are coming out now. And I like that they have fit model for people that are trying to do more beginner friendly things and trying to be more natural athletes and with the whole steroid talk and all that stuff and bodybuilding that's not talked about either, right? So it's a fair chance for people I feel like to be competitive with one another. I love the way bikini looks and I love coming in hard like they are, but they're trying to steer away from that more and they're trying to make us look softer now in a sense.
So
So I
so before fit model came around, a lot of people, a lot of friends of mine that would compete or whatever, their feedback was, like you said, coming a little bit softer. They're trying to push the division that way. But do you think that now with the creation of fit model, it's going to let bikini continue pushing in that direction now that they have that fallback division?
I
Bless you.
think so. I think they'll keep that sense of hard look, conditioned, but still like from the back with Tyler explaining because he's explained, all the stuff recently of what they're looking for. They're still wanting a softer look, I feel like, with bikini from behind, but still harder in the front. So and also it depends on who shows up, right? For any division with judges. It's if there's more people coming in hard, they're gonna judge off of that look compared to if there's like a softer look coming in, they're gonna do that.
This was the Miami show that just happened this past weekend, right?
Oh,
And
the pros. Yeah.
right. And for me, like you look at the lineup and they all have different physiques.
Yeah.
It's
And
kind of
that's why bikini's so hard to know what to look for because of that. This is top six, right?
like if
Yeah.
I'm looking at purely the hourglass shape, like the second and fourth girl, I would say are probably nailing that. And then you look at, Ashlyn has very big glutes, right? Very toned up top. She actually has some pretty big shoulders and arms. Like, so it's just weird because, these are things that I've had friends told not to do or to lessen, and yet she's winning a pro show. Um, and that so it's hard to say because you look at this and even if you know the division, it's going to be a bit confusing. I mean, look, and then the sixth rank girl, her shoulders are massive. So
And I think too, from East Coast to West Coast, judges are different also in the sense of what they're
That's good.
looking for. So it's like nobody's on the same page. I feel like everybody's in different ways of what they're wanting. So bikini, well, fit model now too. I'm curious how they're going to be judging fit model and what they're expecting because some of the girls that have won fit model overalls are hard and then some are soft. So it's a mix. I feel like bikini and fit model are very question marks of what they're expecting. A lot of the time, like they told me my back pose was too conditioned and I need to make it less conditioned for my pro show.
Was this at your university back?
So this one, they said everything was symmetrically perfect, but I was just a little too hard on the back, which to me, I felt like I wasn't. But again, I'm not a judge, right? So listening to them, and my tie-ins aren't even as prominent with my hamstrings, but I mean, they're there, right? So a lot of these pro girls have a softer glute and hamstring tie-in than I do.
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely on a harder look than some of the other
Yeah.
ones. Yeah, for sure. When they
Which
said your
I like
back,
that better.
did they mean like your entire back pose, or they were just talking about
Just
your
my
back?
lower half. My
Okay.
lower half. Yeah. Yeah.
It's definitely I don't know, the division. It's hard to follow sometimes.
Question,
Oh,
Scott. How did you get into the protein?
so I was actually being sprayed for a show in New Mexico, and a girl was spraying me, and I was like, "Hey, how do you do this job? Like, what do you do?" And she's like, "Oh, well, my boss just kind of picks people or whatever. We actually have an opening." And I'm like, give me her email right now. And I emailed her the next day. And I was like, I will do anything. Like, I would love to get involved. I want to connect. I want to meet people. And thankfully, she took me on. She has like a separate, so she works with Protan, but she has her own company too that we do spraying out here for. So I'll also, like, I spray the Olympia with Protan and all that stuff. So I still do stuff with Protan, but it's mostly with her. So I just got lucky, I think, and I was very adamant about wanting to do it and pushed for it, and I got in that
Well, you
way.
You
make
made
your
it
own luck,
happen.
right? Like you made your own luck. You asked about it, there was an opening, you happened to pounce on it, but that was also your doing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
What does a day? Go
what's
ahead.
your
Go ahead,
best
G.
advice for athletes as far as getting the tan and having it
So,
look the best on stage?
yeah, so what I recommend, so LSR, do you know LSR, like the brand LSR, how it
Yeah,
looks?
liquid sunrays. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm not a fan of that color for the simple fact of I think on stage with lights it looks kind of green and like muddy. So with Protan, I always say even if you don't have someone spraying Protan, do your own DIY Protan. Protan looks better for that show that he just pulled up for my video. I did my own. I wiped myself down and then I had the girls do one coat of Protan on me in the morning just because I feel like it looks so much better than LSR. But when it comes to the skin prep and everything, exfoliate a week before, shave the day before, not the day of. Um, when you're no deodorant, obviously the day of, but really exfoliating in your whole body a week before is going to help stick and hold that tan so much better. So that's like the main thing with tanning to make sure your clients do. I'm trying to think of what else that we
You
give
said
into.
that the protein you apply it yourself before they do it.
Yeah, so how I do an application on my own, let it sit for a day. I'll rinse it, do one
Mm.
more application, let it sit, and then get a spray. So I do it that way just because I get my tans free since I work with them. But even for your own clients, if they don't have pro tan, it's so easy to just apply yourself with a mitt. And it's not hard to do, but it makes it look so much better than using a gun for just all the applications.
well, it's because if you're using a spray that it's not consistent because they're moving away, they're moving around, whereas if you're rubbing it on, I'm assuming it's more
And it
consistent.
soaks better.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I recommend definitely using like a protein kit. It's like 60 bucks. Doing that first. And then if they have a protein, get just one application with them and have them do it the day of, the morning of.
What would you say about the face? Because I see like the different, I see like the raccoon eyes, the different, styles. Like,
With all of it. Make sure to spray your face for men. We don't because we get makeup, but we always do it the night before. So do it the night before. Especially, but if you're doing like your own, like apply whatever, have them do it the morning of with the spray gun. But definitely spray your face because you get those people that are really flush on stage. Like Nick Walker, I can't remember, he did like guest posing or something, and they just did his face down or his chest down, and his head was just a bobblehead on
Oh,
stage.
yeah.
Like you don't want to look like that completely.
He still has always had like a whiter face with
Yeah,
you
with
choose
the tan.
not to have them spray because they ask you at the end, like, do you want your face done? I always say yes because I don't want to have that.
Some people say no, but say yes,
I
always.
don't want to look like a lamp.
Yeah, always say yes. Always say
Because
yes.
then it draws the judge's attention away from the body.
Yeah. And that's why they don't care. Let's be real about this, right? They care about everything else.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How does a day of pro tan look like for you? I imagine it's an early and late, day.
Yeah, so like I'll use this weekend for example. I fly out Friday morning. I go straight to the venue for tanning. So I've been doing all my fasted cardio before I leave. I'll have all my meal prep packed, frozen, brought with me to the venue. We tan from 7 a.m. to like 9 p.m. at night. And then the next day we're up at 6:45 in the morning till 9 or 10 when the show's over. And it's a 3-day show this weekend because it's a pro am show
Right.
again. So again, it's going to be the same repeat on Sunday. So I make with those things when I'm in prep, I talk to my coach. I make 3 days in a row rest days, and I usually only have two a week, but we'll just do lower carb those 3 days. I hit my step count always during that time, and then
I
I
imagine.
work out when I get home on that Monday and start up my fasted cardio. Like I'll have to do fasted cardio once while I'm there in the morning, but like I work around it. Yes, it's psychotic, but it works, and I like being busy, and it helps with
Well, I
prep.
mean, I imagine you don't think about food when you're spraying,
Yep,
a
you're
million
just trying
people.
to get through the day.
I'm
Yeah.
a huge guy. Like I started working with some shows down here, so I'll do the
Okay.
security, the VIPs, all that stuff, and like just general operations. But for me, I just love being at shows. I feel when
Yeah.
I actually like the smell of spray tan. Like it just makes me feel like because you have those memories of your first few shows, and it brings back, So I've enjoyed working at shows, even though it can be really long and tiring.
But
But
it's great connections. Like you meet so many
oh yeah.
people. I've met so many people social media wise. Like we follow each other, we connect. It's cool to just find people that like the same things you do, and like you can build friendships off of that, just like you guys did, in a different way. So
Yeah, and then G obviously has his coaching going on, so he uses that as like his business sense. I used to work in sports and entertainment, so I miss being involved at events too. So now I just and plus I was taking an entire season off to grow, so I was like, well, what am I gonna do? Not go to any shows? So I was like, I'm bored. It was cool. I got to go to the Caribbean. I did the one in the Bahamas,
oh, cool.
Grand Prix. I'm gonna do that again this year. It was like a
Okay.
40-minute flight from Lauderdale, so super
What's
easy.
the production company down there that does
Sir,
most?
I work with Serge Sarek.
Okay.
Yeah, Serge, he's a Olympia judge. And then Marianne, his wife, they do it together.
Okay.
So it's funny because I was working Janet's show last year. I was like, well, I'm not gonna be able to help you out next season. I'm gonna be doing the show, so they have to find a replacement. But yeah, no, it's cool. It's like I honestly it's tiring, especially when you're doing security. Like I'm working from I get there usually like 7:30, and I'm on my feet running around until the end of finals, which is like 9 o'clock.
Yeah, and you hit once you stop, it
And I gotta be
hits.
on because like
It's fine.
I have people like Dan Solomon coming in, Jen Dory, and I have to make sure they get to their seats, and it's like you have to be on. So it was exhausting, but I wouldn't. I'm definitely not gonna do it like right in the heart of prep. That's for
Oh
sure.
no, I stopped spray tanning about 2 months out from my show just because it's one, not fair to them. I got brain fog like crazy. I'm dead inside. Like, no, thank you. And also for my body, I'm like, yeah, we're not going to do this. So I usually stop tanning about 2 months out from competing, and then I get back into it when I'm done with shows.
So do you only have female clients? Are you also training guys
I
or
have a couple men, but mostly women. I would say 95% are women.
only female competitors as clients? Okay.
Yes, as of right now.
And you said bikini and fit model right now, or you don't have any fit model yet?
I have one fit model this time.
One fit
So
model.
she'll be my first
Oh,
fit model.
nice. When
Yes.
you bring on a new bikini client, like what's your process of getting to know them, their body? Like how do you
Yeah.
decide to go about their protocol and also selecting shows, which I think isn't spoken about enough in terms of the strategy of that?
Yeah. So as a coach, the first thing I always say, if they're interested in competing, that's great. No matter what, we're doing 6 months of a mini cut, a bulk, whatever it may look like. So you get used to what prep would even look like as a competitor. I feel like people don't genuinely know how it works, and they need to get accustomed to how to do a prep before doing a prep. So I always tell them, let's say we need to drop like 10 extra pounds of body fat before we even do a prep. Cool, let's do this mini cut. I'm gonna give you a meal plan how I expect it to be for show or for competition clients because I don't give in that kind of sense. I don't give my clients a lot of leeway until they get to a point where I feel like they can. So I would make them on a meal plan, do a mini cut with them, do cardio with them, and a lot of them are thankful they go through those 6 months beforehand because they're like, oh, prep isn't easy, but it's smoother transitioning. So I'll always talk to clients and give them honest feedback. I think coaches need to be more, no, you need to wait to get on stage instead of, yeah, let's just throw you on stage because not everybody's always ready to compete right away. And most of the time, you're not ready to compete right
Most,
away,
yeah, most times not.
especially with muscle density and where you're at. Realistically, you probably haven't been training hard enough, eating enough, knowing what to even do with which muscle group you need to build and so forth. So you won't be on stage until we're ready. And very upfront with them with that process. So once I feel like we're at a good spot of, okay, now we can start prep, let's look at shows 20 weeks out. I always have my clients do 20-week preps. I don't care if you're ready in 16, I'm doing 20. I've always done 20, even if I'm ready to start at 15, because we can slowly feed you more food at the end instead of killing you toward the end of prep, right? So that's kind of my thought process with it. So we look for like a show 20 weeks out of what the date I think they'll start, and we pick shows that way with them, depending if they want to travel or they want to stay close, or things like that.
I think that's realistic is 20 weeks, you know, because it gives you still, you know, that little transition time to be able to, hey, okay, I may have been off this week, or now you could adjust the food. I see this food is inflaming you more, so we're gonna just stick to this food group. But I like your ideology. I think 6 months of actually hopping into like the mini cut and understanding that stuff is knowledge is everything.
Yeah. And people like don't understand the struggle with bodybuilding too, right? Mentally with everything, the challenges, adjusting with a job, like adjust those little things you don't think
The
about, you
stressors,
have
yeah.
to get in order before you start a prep. So doing that before makes it more successful for clients to just finish. And even like for me, I love doing 20 weeks of prep because then guess what? I'm getting more refeeds toward the end because my body is already going to be ready to go a week or two before I even need to step on stage. So
Yeah.
you're feeding me more. I'm not dying doing 5 hours of cardio like
Yes.
some people do, you know? So that slow, gradual cut for me is more beneficial with my clients, I've noticed.
Yeah, G's pretty similar with what he's got us going on. Like I'm doing 18 weeks, but the first few weeks ahead of that were like a pre-prep, like taper down anyway. So probably like
Okay.
20, 21 weeks total. But it's interesting for me because the last time I competed, my coach was having me. I mean, I dropped 43 pounds. Like it was way too
Oh, wow.
drastic, and I was natural then. So
Yeah.
like it was way too much on my body, and I had no time to fill back up. So. Um, G's approach is just different. He wants to be able to fill me up towards the end. I mean, I won't talk for G, but he's pretty analytical about how he or specific about how he goes about his process. G, I don't know if you want to share more about like how you go through that or what you use as markers to decide like when it's right to taper down or fill back up.
Yeah.
Um,
Hold on. Hold on.
yeah.
Okay.
Your dog.
Stop with
That
the dog. Give me 1 second.
She won't come on the
that was a
podcast.
monster.
We're not doing that right now, guys. Out of every foot.
Uh,
I'm sorry.
No, you're
Go ahead.
fine.
very good.
We're good.
I think it's based on like just the individual asking the right questions, seeing their check-ins, the physique, how their weight is responding to the training, the nutrition plan. Um, that's how you're going to kind of just gauge on like how their body is responding. You know, whether they're like Chris said about inflammation, stress. Um, I I think everybody. I like the approach of that Skye you talk about. You know, trying to build the athlete like until they're ready to compete.
Hmm.
But also, I think sometimes you just need to do it because
Yeah.
you never know like what you need until you step up there. Like even though you obviously because you're in the sport, you're a pro. You may kind of have more of an eye for like bikini and certain things, but still, I feel like they won't understand it until they actually go and experience it themselves, and they get those feedback from the judges, and they're like, okay, now I get it. This is what I really need to work on, because it's tricky sometimes. It's like you don't always listen to people. You know what I mean? I had people telling me for years when I was young. They were like, "Oh, my coach." He was like, "Oh, you should compete." I always used to work out with my coach when I was young, and he was always telling me, "You should compete. You should compete." I never believed him. I never thought I was ready. I just kept on like I'm working out years, 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 and then one day I was just like, okay, I'm like, let's just do it, because if I don't do it now, I'm never gonna do it. And
Yeah.
it wasn't until I did it that I actually fell in love with the process, and then I realized, from the amateur level to the national level, there's a big difference. And then from the national level to the pro level is another level, and from the pro to the Olympia. So it's a very demanding sport, and you have to be mentally tough, because it can definitely break you. And I feel like a lot of people, some people have quick rises to the top, and then they don't end up staying in the sport, and maybe they talk bad about the sport as well. And I think, you know if you're deciding to do this, it's your choice, and you want to put yourself through the diet, the training, and everything that comes with it. And when if you come to me and you saying you want to do something, I say just go all in with it. You know what I mean? And give me your most, and I'll give you the most, and we'll make it happen. So I like to just kind of hear the athlete out and see where they're coming from. Then kind of just go
Day by
about
day.
go about the game plan after that.
I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I think, but especially in the sport, an athlete needs to learn how to lose really quickly because you're going to lose way more than you win in this sport. Even
Yeah.
the top Olympians will lose more than they win unless you're, I mean, look at Brendan Henderson, right? Like, and he came fourth at Pittsburgh and then he won two shows, but he
Right.
has to lose. And so having a client go and do their first show, I think how they respond to that is going to tell you if they're made for the sport or not. Because if they don't win and they pout about it and they just can't get over that. I mean, look, it's fine to be disappointed for like an hour or something, and then, but if they can't recover from that, I think they need to have a very serious conversation with their coach about is this the right path for them? Because I know so many people. My friend Brandon Cantaloupe just competed at the Miami Pro. He came, I want to
Six.
say, no, I know, I'm talking about last year. He came
Well,
third. It was
third.
Vitor Deke, then Brandon. So he came
Hmm.
third, and as his rookie season.
Yeah.
And he made crazy improvements this year because he shut it down after that show. He just came sixth, but he looked better than he did last year. And now he's a pro and he's used to it. And but there are so many athletes that, I mean, how are they going to deal with that? Like, I came in
Drop
better,
off.
but I just got ranked lower.
Yeah.
And that too, I think, has something to do with the way a coach. Oh my gosh. Hey, really? Come on.
They can hop on the pod as special guests too if they want to,
These are
Feature.
Lifted.
they're like playing and fighting each other. Hey, come on, not right now. Hey, Lily Mae, stop. Um, I agree with that, but I also think the coach has something to do with that as well if they're hyping their athletes up way too much and not being
True.
realistic with how they look.
Right.
Yeah.
Because yes, right, like you can look good, but you need to remind your clients too, there's other people better than you out there. That's just what it is. Like everyone's
100%.
somebody. So that humbleness needs to come from the coach too, because I feel like coaches like to throw
Hype.
words in their clients' mouth so they keep their money as well.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
But,
Like,
I guess that's where
I'm,
a good
I'm
coach would
so
be.
direct. You'll never get
so
that from
G
Yeah.
is
Amen.
he's a
That's
very
good. That's a good thing though.
people don't like how direct I am
so
sometimes, but I'm just like, it's I rather tell you the truth so you can grow and get better than lie to your face and you live in this kind of delusion.
Facade. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
facade, exactly. So
G's a
And
man
it's
if he
better to be blunt. I like,
yeah.
gee, it's good that you're blunt because I'm the same. My coach is like that. You need to tell them honesty because in reality, life isn't always going to be easy. And if you got to work harder, tell them to work harder. Like
exactly.
it just makes it better
You
for you.
get uncomfortable.
But
I,
I
I
love
think to
having a coach like G because he is direct, and so when he does give a compliment, you know it's for real, and it's not just to like slap you on the back. Like
Yeah.
even the other day, I was getting in my own head a little bit, just how anyone does at the beginning of prep, and then I was like, maybe we should have a warm up show or all these other questions I was asking, and he's like, no, we'll be fine. Like we're in a good place.
Trust
And
the
that just
process.
him saying that to me, I was like, there's no way he's bullshitting me because G doesn't bullshit. So
Yeah.
like, just kind of it's nice because I've had experience with people that like they're just always so positive and that's great, but it's like I want to hear from someone that's just gonna give it straight on what they're seeing. I
It's
mean,
a balance. It's a balance. You got to have still a positive mindset, but you got to be realistic too. Like you said, you're not going to win every time, you
Yeah.
know? And I
my
think
big
what when Skye was talking about the putting people on stage, she was more talking about like the vol like coaches that put out volume. Like you'll see them coming with
That's
like
what I mean. Yeah, you
yeah,
see
like
20
20
people going
people
out when let's be so
and
for real.
like two
They
two
shouldn't
two are
have
really sh
like that.
stage ready and the other 18 are just there for,
Numbers game.
a
Yeah,
numbers
there are
game.
20 of them. A couple of them are probably going to hit, in the lottery, and then they just know they're going to walk away with silverware no matter what. So they're guaranteeing their success. They're not guaranteeing your success.
Yeah.
Like I had a pro, an Olympian ask me, oh, why didn't you come with me? And I said I went with G. G has fewer clients. Okay, maybe his cabinet is as full of trophies yet, but I know G is going to give 100% because like Chris and I are two of his three men's physique athletes, right? And we're the only two that are actually seasoned in the sport. So we are very important for the team, like and G's growth. Like we're literally his proof of product or so it's honestly it's like a good stress to have, I think. Like that's part of like because I'm not just competing this year for myself, I'm also competing for G to show off his work, to be a good teammate. And you played softball, I played lacrosse. Like I'm always trying to find the team oriented aspects to it to just kind of like keep enjoying it. Because if it's always just about you, that can burn out. So
And G with you too for small business as well, like right, compared to like these big coaching
Yeah.
companies and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about
Corporate.
in sport. Um,
Corporations.
I think it's so important to have people like us out there because you genuinely care about your clients and it's not about numbers. And I feel like with
Yeah.
bodybuilding and these big organizations, just give me your money. We'll talk once a month. Like I've had clients be like, I come from this, whatever big company, and I got called once a month or I got talked to every 2 months. Like this is the most communication I've ever had. And that's just sad because it's more about building with the people you're training because then you're going to know how to train them better. You're going to know how to coach them better. So small, that's why too I stuck with my coach because he was small, but I wanted to win because of me, not because of a name. And that was something I really wanted to do for myself. So it's very important to have small people like us in the business world of bodybuilding and just the genuine care. So that's awesome that you're doing that.
It shows you could disrupt the force and the mentality of the copy and paste diets and
Yes.
all this stuff. And I feel like with G, it's a lot more personal that you do care. Like I could tell him, hey, I feel bloated today because I had rice. He's like, okay, let's switch to sweet potato. Boom. Okay, now I'm digesting my food better. And it takes real like, communication. Now imagine if I had a coach who has a million clients and I send that one message, hey, I'm feeling bloated. I'm not gonna hear back for a month. And then by then I'm already inflamed with fucking rice.
Yeah.
My bad for
Yeah.
cursing.
some people just want to be able to say they're coached by like a big name
Yeah.
or an Olympian, and it makes them it's like a security blanket, and they think it's gonna help them on stage or whatever it is, and that's just completely false at the end of the day. And like G will eventually get there. He's gonna go pro this year. He'll eventually be at the Olympia. So I'm just gonna invest in him early, and
Yeah.
so you
At
just
age
gotta.
pricing.
You're naming, you're manifesting it
I'm
for
manifesting
him.
it. Like it's like, and I don't even care. Like he's gonna get his, and I look forward to competing with him because I'll get to be on stage when my coach gets his pro card. So it's my biggest pet peeve with the sport are the competitors who they think they're way ahead of where they are, and then they look down on you for not like thinking the same way. Like for me, like yeah, in a few years my goal is to go pro. I'm not worried about that right now. I'm just worried about getting my first national show and looking my best. And
Yeah.
I don't care about the placing as long as I come in looking the part, look like I belong. I'll worry about my placing at nationals next year once I've done it. Just so I think it's important to set incremental goals where it's like, okay, I'm going for a class win and possibly an overall. Okay, the next time around, I got that. Now I'm going for the overall. And it's like having a challenging but realistic goal and then your stretch goal and then
Yeah.
constantly moving them both up just the way you would like if you're benching 225, right, or 300, you're not going to just go to 500 the next week. It's going to take time. And it's I think people just need to think about their goals the same way they think about their workout plans, right? So it's not that I don't have big mind or big picture or big optimism for myself not talking about my pro card yet. I just don't want to worry about that right now. And I think a lot of people, when I talk like that, they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna change your thought process right now. Like you're gonna get it." It's like that's not helping anyone. It's
Yeah. And even too, I think people need to realize also just because your coach isn't a pro or a well-known influencer or top 10 of something doesn't mean they don't know what they're doing.
exactly.
Because I feel like before I even got my pro card, I was getting clients, right? But that pro status helped, yes, but that didn't mean the mindset of what I was doing changed. And I feel like people are always like, I need to be with a coach that's a pro or top 10 in Olympia. Or no, there's a lot of coaches out there with a lot of information that know what they're doing that aren't as big, that still work hard, look great, but aren't pros, and that's okay. So, like you said, the status quo, I think, is just a main thing people try to look for in anything, materialistic wise too, out of, like
Yeah.
anything in general. The name of something makes people feel better, but at the end of the day, it's not always true.
It's a title, and I've been with a Olympian coach too, and the I got ghosted 3 weeks before my competition, so it's like one of those things where like, does that title really matter, or is your coach treating you like a human? Because just because your coach isn't, not everyone turns pro, and that's a sad part about the sport. You could look the part, and that day is so subjective that the person next to you gets the pro card and you don't.
Hey,
So I
guess
mean,
what? You could actually be pro quality right now and not get your pro card. Like there's
yeah.
a bottleneck of talent right now. The sport is blowing up. There's only so many pro cards. People keep talking about how many pro cards there are. I'm sorry, there's still not enough comparatively to
Oh,
how
there's
much.
only what, six national? Five
Well,
national.
if you include like obviously the amateur Olympia and Arnold have three cards each division, um, not like a universe that has two per class. But I don't know the full tally. But the fact of the matter is that's why there's so many rookies doing well right out of the gate. There was like Ricardo Sanat. He won FGP Nationals, went to Olympia all in 1 year. And there's people that it's tough because um, it's people need to accept that they look like a pro and they're just not one yet simply because of the math and they just
Yeah.
gotta bide their time. Our friend Danny is doing his 10th national show at Universe this year. I mean, talk about like sticking with it and just never giving up. Like
Yeah.
that's really
Well,
admirable.
the sport it should be a lifestyle. So it's not, you
Yeah,
know what I mean? So you're not having to force yourself to do it for 8, 10 years. No, you're in bodybuilding because you love it. You love the reason behind it all.
Or
So that's
somebody's
why
forcing
people
you.
make. Yeah. Yeah. No one's forcing you. So don't be, I always say when you're on low carb, I get it, right? We don't like our lives. Don't be an a-hole to people because, or cranky because you're on low carb. You're choosing to die right now. Like it's not anyone's fault but your own. So like have a better mindset of, yeah, it sucks, but guess what? You're doing this because you love it and it's gonna suck and suffer at some points. That's the point of it.
embrace the stuff,
Yeah.
embrace it, enjoy
Yeah.
it. It's
Being
a
grateful too for being that at that, like right now, I'd say this is the best look I've had. I'm 3.5 weeks out, and this is the best look that I've ever had in all my shows. And yeah, I may be feeling it energy wise, but I know what's coming at the end, regardless of the placing or regardless of, however it ends, I've already beat my last stage look. So
Mm-hmm.
that in itself is just like what I enjoy. So when I'm on lower carbs and I'm on like, depleted and all that stuff, I'm like, okay, at least I want to be doing this. I'm here right now. Let's
Yeah,
keep on
because
pushing.
did you guys see the girl who she's a pro now? She just went pro who has the mechanical arm?
Yeah, I
yep.
just said by the bionic. Yes,
Yes. I was like, what? First off, it was beautiful. It was
yeah,
brand new.
amazing.
Yeah, but like that's a sign, like that shows you need to be grateful that we get to do this. Think about all the money that goes into this, that you have to pay a coach, food. Like this is a luxury sport to be doing, and you need to be there's people that can't even physically do it. Like you know what I mean? And then you
Yeah.
see it's like you're complaining that you need to get up in the morning and I don't know, go do 30 minutes of cardio while this girl has one arm and is able
Right.
to still look absolutely amazing because she's putting in just as much effort. So like
Yes.
reminding yourself to be grateful is so important in this
Remind
sport.
yourself that you are getting something out of it. Like you're gonna look damn good on stage. So you're suffering, but it's not like you're suffering for nothing. You're suffering because you're gonna bring an incredible package. So delayed gratification.
Yeah.
People need to have that like tattooed on themselves sometimes. Like there's too many people that are the opposite of that in the sport, and it then plays tricks with everyone else's heads. So yeah, whoever's watching, be mindful about who you have around you and what they're saying.
Especially family. I think family can be negative at some points, but they'll understand eventually if they are supportive of you. They'll get it and then they'll support you with it and set your boundaries and just let people know you're not going to tolerate certain things with them. And then that negative energy will slowly go away and they'll be like, oh, they're actually serious about doing this.
Yeah.
I think that's what I had to do to start is give my boundaries. Stop asking me why I'm bringing my meal prep everywhere. Stop asking me why I'm not eating what you're eating. I don't judge you for drinking and eating every weekend, so don't judge
Yeah.
me.
Those are all
Ooh.
relationships.
I was very
Those are
like,
all
don't mess with
relationships.
it. Don't mess
Our
with
re- our
Oh man,
relationships.
yo, Sky's got some zingers ready to go.
But
Oh
but
yeah,
but that brings up a
I've been
good
doing
point
this long
though.
enough.
Yeah.
Scott, that brings up a good point. Would you say like your biggest support system then is your fiance? Like because you live, I mean, you guys live together, I imagine.
Mhm.
How does dating someone that's not in the bodybuilding world, how do you guys work that out?
Yeah, so he came from a very different lifestyle. So he was very going out every weekend with his friends, living his life, single, doing his thing. And I come from going to bed at 7 o'clock on the weekends and doing my, bodybuilding life. And when he came into my life again and we lived together, he was like, very, what do I need to do to help you? I never realized this was like you do a lot. Like it's crazy. You make all these meals, like you prep. And in my head, I'm like, oh, you don't know this. But also, it's like, no, you don't know this because you don't know what a bodybuilder's like. You've never been with a bodybuilder. You don't, especially a pro, like what we do, what we experience. So it was very easy for us because he is very supportive. Like there's was one time we went to a restaurant and the guy wouldn't let me eat my food, which okay. And he got so mad for me. And I'm like, you don't need to do that. I'll eat in the car. It's okay. Like it's just very like if there's anything I need, he's there even if he's not in the sport. And that's why I knew I wanted to be with him because even though he doesn't want to do it, he's going to support me in what I'm doing and what I love in life.
It's
So
important.
yeah, it's been a very good like transition for him and he's gotten into working out more because of it. Not that he's anywhere near my crazy self, but he's being healthy, he's eating healthier. He loves seeing me go through the process and he knows when I need him at the end, he's going to do anything he can even more toward that, last 4 or 5 weeks for me. So I always say dating outside of the bodybuilding world is great because you need that balance, but also it can work if you find someone in the bodybuilding world that's supportive with you too. So it just
I've
depends.
done both ways. Like right now, my girlfriend, she doesn't compete at all. So it's definitely, and we started dating literally right before I started prep. So it's kind of like giving just a heads up. Like it's not, I don't think there's ever an excuse to be an asshole to anyone. So I don't condone that. But like in terms of like low energy and not having the same demeanor about certain things, it's like just letting them know that it's not personal. It's like, I'm not responding to it much right now emotionally. Like it is a draining sport. So like things for them to look out for so they know ahead of time, like, okay, that's not has nothing to do with me. It's just that's just how it goes. And it's not like it's directed only at me. It's just in general, anyone it's the temper. It's not even a temper, it's more like just again the energy. Like someone might say something to you normally, you laugh about it, be very energetic about it, and then the next time it's like you're in prep and you're like, okay, that's funny, but I'm really half asleep right now.
Like a half a laugh and that's it.
Yeah, yeah,
But
That's
communication is big. Yeah, bingo, boom.
yep, yep.
yeah.
Communication is key.
And being able to communicate, because I mean, again, dating someone outside of bodybuilding, they may not understand, but if they could empathize and sympathize with you and, just sit with you while you're irritable or stressing or low depleted, then, you feel safe and reassured that you got, someone by your side.
I
Like
will say there was a couple times where I would take him to go get like ice cream or something and have him enjoy it for me.
That
So I was
that's
like,
very sadistic. That's like what?
yeah.
don't know why it held my mind, but I was like, "We should go get some Cinnaholic. Let's go take you to get some." And he's like, sure. So he would eat it, and I'd be like, see, that satisfied my craving. I hope you enjoyed that.
I don't know about you
That's
guys, but
crazy.
when I get to a certain point in prep, I actually just don't care anymore. Like I'm so used to not having fun food that I almost forget what it tastes like, and I'm just kind of used to it, and I zone out from it, and it doesn't bother me as much. I think the first half of prep is actually harder in that sense because you're just used to more food. Although I was so strict in my off season that I still wasn't eating fun food in the off season. I was on plan. I was just eating more of what I'm eating now. But yeah, I definitely find the beginning is a little hard, especially when you have friends sending you pizza every hour.
Well, he's 3.5 weeks out, so he
I
might
don't
be
know
at
where
Yeah,
they're finding real. They find those.
Alex thinks he's suffering, but he
I'm
just
not
literally
suffering.
started
last week.
prep last
I'm
week, and he's crying about me. He said,
the
I'm
first
not
week is always the hardest change.
I'm
I can
not
tell
crying
you
about. I'm
that.
not. I am not suffering. I'm just saying like I'm seeing the trend it's going in. It's like
"Oh man, be prepared, bro. I'm gonna get you resilient, bro.
what
You."
did I do to
You
you?
better do not disturb. Put on his messages so that you don't see all that.
No, I'm actually for the amount of little food I'm eating, I really am not that tired. I think the Yohimbine's helping. I just
I'm
I keep
telling you, the mentality too, just switch it. Like, yeah, you're gonna be tired. Guess what? Everyone's tired.
yeah.
Yeah,
Go do what you got to do throughout the day.
I find prep easier than the off season. I go
I
so hard
agree.
in the off season, especially when I was natural. Like I had to do that much more that I didn't give myself any kind of grace period. I just wanted to go all out, and then my body was so beat up, and then prep was actually like almost like a break in a sense because you could do less. You had to do less. You couldn't do the same thing you were doing in the off season. So it depends on how you look at it. They're both challenging in different regards, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, this is gonna be an easy prep. It's already
Sky,
easy.
Sky, what type of legacy do you want to live or leave in bikini and bodybuilding? When you decide to hang up the bikini.
I think the one biggest thing I want to do is I want people to remember me and my legacy by how genuine I was and how I truly cared about the sport and the people in it. That's something that I just want people to always remember me by is I'm not always going to be happy, right, and positive, but I want them to know that I'm always going to be me. And I always want you guys to know that I'm going to care for those people and they're my ride or dies always. Just having that legacy of kindness and just having a good heart, man, because it's so hard to find that nowadays, I feel, you
A
know.
hundred, 100%. So what would you say to your younger self? That was a beautiful answer to that question. So now what would you say to your younger self?
Don't be a little like Ronnie Coleman said. No, I'm just kidding. I would say probably to my younger self, I'm proud of you for overcoming those bullies and the tough times I went through. And I suffered depression when I was younger, and a lot of things like that. And I'm very proud of the woman you've become because now you're living your best life, being your own boss and running your own company. And don't stop now. And you never stop. So I'm proud of her for that. Definitely.
Never give up, like dark sports, right?
Never. I always say 1% better every day. That's like my life motto. Be
Yeah.
1% better every day, even if that's getting up and filling the water up that you didn't want to do yesterday. Guess what? You did that. So that's 1% better than you were.
Your only competition is who you were yesterday, so
Yeah, there you
you can
go.
always improve.
You know what's funny?
Always.
It wasn't
Always.
until bodybuilding that I actually felt accepted by the people that I was hanging around with. I always felt like I was doing things that people, I don't know, didn't want to do. I was doing different things. I just had different interests. And bodybuilding, we're all so eccentric and dedicated, and I finally feel more comfortable around this kind of I guess group of people. So yeah, because I dealt with some pretty bad bullying when I was young, and just had to learn how to take it on the shoulder. And it's only until now that like I'm an adult that I can really like think about it a little harder. Like if there's a comment I don't like or something, it's like thinking a little harder. If you know that person, you could probably figure out why they're saying it and see why they're projecting it, which also then again it lets you detach from the comment. And then there's also the people that you don't know, and in which case it's like, well, they don't know me, so how are they even gonna have anything to say that's meaningful anyway?
Yeah,
Uh,
and post your content, post what you want to do. If it's helping you in your life and you enjoy it, who cares if somebody gets
yeah,
mad about you doing something, Like you're at the end of the day, you're not living life for anyone but yourself. So always do what you want to do.
yeah. Especially when I first started posting more gym-oriented content, which was different from lacrosse. There was definitely some friction or pushback from people, and it's like, it's funny because then once you get on stage, you look really good. Then those messages start to come in from those kinds of
How'd you do
people.
it? How'd you
Yeah,
move out of my
yeah.
way?
But then it's funny because there's always people that will come up to me that I see and they'll be like, "Oh, your post got me in the gym again," or something like that. And it's usually the people you least expect it. that say
Yeah.
that they're following and they're watching. And so it's just a good reminder that people are always watching what you're doing, good and bad people. And so if I help one person get back into the gym and I have to deal with five negative comments or something, then I'll take that every day.
And
Yeah. And I
that's
think
a
that,
legacy. That's a
yeah,
legacy. You know,
that's what I was gonna say.
you want to impact people in a positive way. Because when you're gone, it doesn't matter. But when people reflect back on who Alex was, who Sky was, who Giancarlo was, it's like, hey, that person motivated me to be a better person, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Scott, what were there any like specific things you did to deal with like a negative comment? Like, was it that you would like sit down and really think about it and try to find why they were projecting, or like, or is it a different process? Did you struggle with it in a bad way and then you found a better way to deal with it?
I feel like I took it more as focusing internally on growing myself to be able to not care about what they said, because at the end of the day I knew it was like, and I didn't want to be like it was a jealous thing. I think it was just more when I thought of it, I'm like, okay, they probably don't understand, of course, me being positive, they probably don't understand what I'm doing, or like what I'm going through, or why I'm doing this. But I had to really sit down with myself and be secure with myself to be able to be okay with those comments, if that makes sense. So it was more of that, let me work internally on me. What do I need to get better at? Because these comments are going to always come here, but they're not as much, honestly, anymore. It's like one in a blue moon.
Now you're a
Um,
pro. So
well, they're trying to come at Anthony sometimes, which I think is funny.
they
And
try to what, sorry?
they're trying to come at my
Oh,
fiance,
your fiance.
which is fine because he laughs about it. But it's not as much, but yes, because I'm a pro, right? So like at the end of the day, I realized people are just gonna say things because they can't do it, and that's fine. You talk, if you're gonna talk miserable in your life, like that's cool. I don't
They're
want the
just
name.
projecting.
Yeah. I just kind of was like, screw it. I really got that whole F it mentality
Yeah,
a
yeah.
couple of years ago, and it's been great.
Yeah. I think it takes also just being around other positive bodybuilders that don't care, like
Yeah.
everyone on this call. It's like a nice reminder, hey, there's other people like me dealing with the same shit. There's always gonna be people. I'm a strong believer that if there's no one out there saying anything bad about you, you're probably not doing something well enough.
Yeah.
That's really much. No one spends their time talking shit to people that don't inspire some kind of emotional response.
Hmm.
So, if I'm hearing crickets, that's probably a bad thing.
Yeah. Hey, and it motivates me. I'm like, oh yeah, remember when you guys talked about me like 4 years ago? Look now. And I'm
Yeah,
like, hey, how
yeah,
am I?
yeah. We all have different ways of dealing with that. Chris is really, really big on forgiveness and just understanding. I like to not hold a grudge. I just like to your point. I like to use it as reverse energy. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll absorb that. I'll hear it. I can hear your hate. I just don't believe it or
Yeah.
really internalize it. It's just gonna go out in a different way. And I think that's fine because then it's like we are all the way we treat the sport, we're all very serious about it. It is our responsibility to stand up for the people that just don't know how to do that yet.
Yeah.
So I guarantee you that there's been reels of yours that have really, really saved like a girl out there from a dark time. Because they see you bubbly, you're talking about that you've had hate before, and yet you're still there dancing on your reels and having a blast. So, you know,
Like you
just
said, I'm the same. If I can help one person be better and just show that they can do this sport and they can make it through, and I promise you it's not all bad, I would take that over anything any day.
yeah, people need to stop being so apologetic about saying no and
Yep.
and changing lanes. It's like, hey, if there's people that are bad for your mental health, then cut them out, bait and switch. There's no shame in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your show is in September.
Yeah, I'm actually
So
doing three in a row. I'm going
wow.
all.
Okay, what are the other two?
So I'm doing a show September 13th in Arizona. September 20th, I'm going to Seattle for Sasquatch because it's a pro
Oh,
am
that's
show.
that's a cool one.
Yeah, I've heard that one. That's why I'm excited to do that. And then 3 weeks later, I'm gonna go to Georgia, I think the first week of October, because there's not actually any Vegas fall shows because of the Olympia out here. So, or in Texas. So I'm gonna have to go all the way to Georgia unless I can find a closer one. But I'm trying to do three this season.
The Sasquatch trophy is so cool.
All okay, so when I won the I just want those cool, strong looking people, right? I got a skull head when I won the overall. And I was like, okay, this is fine, but I just wanted a muscular
I've been
structure.
asking for one of those trophies.
Yeah.
I got 100 swords. I got all these crown, the rings. I'm like, I
You're like,
just
I
want
don't care
the
about that.
little. I just want the statue, like a
Yeah.
little jacked guy.
Yeah, that's all I want. I don't want all that fancy stuff. Just give me the freaking this really
It's
muscular
it's
person.
crazy because my client got one just at the show she just did, and I'm like, damn, I'm like, I want to take it from you, put it in my house.
Like, let me just have it. You won, but let me
Yeah,
take it.
I want
it
to,
says women's physique on it.
I want a
Hey,
belt. I
G,
want a belt.
I'll get you one, bro. I'll
You
get you
will.
one. I'll
It's
Hey,
get you
not
one.
the same
Micah.
though if you don't win it. It's
Yeah,
not
no,
the
you have to
same if
win
you
it. He
don't
will
win
win.
it.
If you coach it though, I think that's just as notable too. I
That's
mean,
true.
a G got me my first place, and I hold this near dear to my heart right here. Boom, first
Oh, I
place.
love that.
I
Yes.
want a belt and a ring. Those are like, I think the belt's really cool because it's so unique to the sport, right? Like it's kind of
Mhm.
like how boxing has their thing with the belts. So I think it's really cool. I don't think Janet's doing belts yet. I told her my last star, I was like, you need to start giving out belts for when I win. No,
The
but
problem is it never fits, though. I'm gonna be honest. I got
Well,
the
and think
belt. It
about
didn't
it. In
fit
your
me.
off season, you're up
fine, you
like
can
50
hang it
pounds.
up,
Not really. That
hang
ain't
it
fit.
up. Yeah, or I'll wear it the last 4 weeks of
You'll
prep.
wear it around your wrist. That's
Yeah,
Yeah,
where
right.
right.
As a wristband.
Yeah. By the way, quick segment here. This podcast is brought to you by Wolfpack. We align with their mindset of never average, always be a wolf. Use code lifted at checkout and make your mark. Really fortunate to have a sponsor like that join the show. Um, but yeah, no, we've really enjoyed talking with you, Skye. We cannot wait to see what you do next. The three shows, obviously, but and beyond. I'm assuming the ultimate goal is the Olympia at some point, but obviously you have a good handle on the balance of your life and building a family too.
Yeah, we got a long way to go for that one. I honestly feel like Olympia would maybe be a thing eventually, but like you said, kids for me are the number next priority after these pro shows and getting hormones, make sure that's all good and getting that life started so that I can get back into the sport after, for sure.
Good on you.
Enjoy the journey.
Let's
Yeah.
Stage
we'll
will always be there.
we're gonna
Yeah.
take a quick group pick for the gram here. But yeah, no, we're you're now a friend of the podcast, so maybe we'll eventually have one of your athletes on, or we'll have you back on to catch up on see where life is and lifing. But yeah, no, we will be rooting for you, and
Great. Well, thank you guys for having me too. It was nice to meet
yeah,
everybody.
Thank you,
yeah,
Sky.
well, we'll definitely see you
Thank
around.
you
Maybe
very much.
maybe you'll be tanning us at some point.
You
Oh
guys
no,
let me
I'm
know.
gonna
Let me
be
know
looking
what
out for you now because
No, but let me know
I
what
talked to
shows
Chris
because I
about
can
that.
help your athletes. Like I'll make sure they're good. So let me know what shows you guys are doing so I can make sure if I'm backstage like they're good and they're taken care of.
We
The
definitely
universe and Amateur Olympia.
are the
I'll be
two.
an amateur O, but not universe.
Okay,
Okay. Well,
so
perfect. We'll see you at the amateur
yeah,
hour.
you'll have to make sure G and I have our tans like in order
Gotcha.
on spot.
Well, with Universe, the spray tanning company there, they're good too. Just so you know, it's Ice usually,
Okay.
ICE.
Yeah.
They're a good tanning company.
I think because I already purchased the do-it-yourself one that you're talking
Oh,
about, and I have it here. I
Yeah.
think
perfect.
Yeah, I
G's
told
gonna
Chris to
massage
do
it in.
it.
There
Nah.
you go. You're gonna see every part of him. Every part. Not like you don't already for check-in, so it's
Yeah,
fine.
Yeah. The rear double but
yeah. Bicep, yeah.
in the speedo. All right, guys. Thank you,
Take
Sky,
it
for
All
easy.
right, thank
joining
you so
Thank
us.
much for
you
Thank you
joining
very
guys
us.
much.
so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.